Let me lay a foundation here. This is 8/12/2022, last Friday at 12:47. We have lived here. We moved in here in 1970, and we lived next door to this woman who became a widow shortly thereafter, and never had a problem out of her. We lived next door to this widow woman, Gilman McKinney's mother, and never had a problem out of her. Never a crossword, never an argument. And then these men move in and they are crazy and they start trying to start fights all the time. Well, they got the right one right here. So I fought off Gilman McKinney for 7 years, and finally the Lord put a tree on his house. He got out of there, and 14 months later he's dead. This man comes up in my yard after he moves in. When my 94-year-old neighbor died, they sold it, and this man comes in my yard when I have somebody here. I'm Chuck Hunter, and I'm so nice. Let me put on this little facade of how nice I am. And I've survived cancer 7 times, which has taught you nothing. You're not humble, and you're not submitted to God. You're a reprobate. So, any way I can help you, let me know. I'll do anything I can to help you. Well, then he asked me if he can have a couple of pieces of pipe in my yard. And I told him 4-inch pipe, drain pipe, and I gave it to him. Just trying to be a good neighbor. I needed it for myself, but I went ahead and gave it to him out of the goodness of my heart. And so then I saw signs of him being in my yard. From his side, he had cut down all the privacy bushes back there so that he could step over into my yard. He put 2 blocks and a trash can that belonged to the previous county contracted company that should have went back to the company. He put at the back of the property in the corner, shoved it up in the corner so it's on my property, his property, and the woman behind him and the man behind him. He's got it on all 4, on everybody's property. And right beside it, he put those blocks so that he could use the trash can to steady himself to step over. Put some blocks in another place. And I saw signs of somebody being in the yard. So I sent him, first he actually said, "Oh, by the way, I came and got another piece of that pipe." So that indicated to me that he didn't have respect for my property. Would I have gave it to him? Yeah. But the principle of it is, don't come in my yard without asking. I wouldn't do that to him, but he did it to me. So then after that, he's cussing in front of me, and then I send him a message, tell him that I'm going to put a privacy fence up back there because someone is coming over from his side after he cut that privacy down. So he comes out and cusses me out for not minding my own business because it was on his property. He could do as he pleased, blah, blah, blah. But he threw away something that belonged to me that was on my side of the property. And then he walks away after he cusses me out. And let me tell you something, Chucky, because I know you stalk my videos because you've modified your behavior after you've seen the videos. So let me tell you something, Chucky. I don't give a rip what you do on your property until what you do on your property affects mine. The fact that you cut all that down so that you could step into my property is a problem. And the fact that I saw signs of somebody being back there, and it's probably you, and the fact that you admitted to me that you came into my yard and got something without asking is a symptom of a problem that you don't respect people's property, and you don't respect me as a woman by dropping the F-bombs all over the place in front of me. You're a reprobate, and you're a troublemaker. So here we go. He turns off this light so he can sneak around into my yard, which lights up his property so that I can see him sneaking around at night. So he turns it off, and I call the power company, and they turn it on. And this guy was supposed to call me, and he didn't. So he shows up. I slip on my clothes real quick, and I come out. When I step out, there is the three-ring circus in Calhoun County is already started, because there's a truck down at the bottom of the hill where the county had actually dumped illegally when they've got a dumping site that is a legal county-owned dumping site a mile from here. I called the county administrator. They didn't like it. They won't cut the grass down through here because of it. They won't trim these trees back because I called and complained. And I got video of them dumping down there, which made them mad. So somebody else is sneaking down through there trying to dump, and I'm making a video. And as soon as I step off the porch, I've got this guy. I'm anticipating Chuck coming out, starting a fight. And these people are down at the bottom of the hill trying to illegally dump at the same time. So I'm making a video of all of it because I'm expecting Chuck. Then in the meantime, Randy's nosy grandsons that he probably sent over pull right here into back into Gilman's driveway. And they're within 15 feet trying to hear what's being said. Now, what that boils down to is this. They're eavesdropping on my phone calls. They're eavesdropping inside my house, and yes, I believe that, and I have many reasons and much proof and evidence, video and journaling to prove that this man is listening inside my house. He's either got a camera in my house or he's listening. So I'm on the phone with the power company woman telling her that when he comes, I will step between him and the guy next door, Chucky, and I will defend my property, and it's going to be owned. So all these circus clowns show up to try to see the sideshow. So I've got 5 men that surround me trying to hear what's being said and witness me, because I told her it's going to be on like Donkey Kong, So they all want to see. They all want to hear. So here we go. He pulls in this driveway here, which is a problem because Chucky's going to come out and start something. So while I'm videoing the circus of these men down the street trying to dump illegally, they see me videoing, so they come up the street. I get him to back out and come into my property because I don't want Chuck coming out saying anything to him while this truck is on his property. But mind you, property stakes are right here on the inside of this wall that show that my property goes right out through here on this side of the telephone pole, and all of this is actually illegally on my property, according to the survey stakes. This pole is on my property, so it does not concern him. So here he comes. He backs up. And then here comes the truck. They back up. They stop right here. There's no debris in that yard over there for them to pick up, but they stop right where they can hear what's being said. They get out and kind of hang around. Here comes Chuck. Here comes Chucky. He acts like he's checking his mail, and he's trying to hear what's being said. Then he comes over here and walks right here where you can't see him, and he's trying to speak to the power company guy, and I tell him, you're not talking to him. He's on my property, and you're not talking to him. I said, you're always trying to talk to people that are on my property to do stuff for me, and it doesn't concern you. Go back home. Yes, it does concern me. It's shining in my window. That's what he told the power company. No, it's not shining in your window. You're lying through your teeth, Chucky. He's got curtains on his windows. He's got awnings on those windows. So here he just finally gives up. That guy leaves. The truck leaves, but here's Chucky. Hold on. Here comes Chucky. He finally gives up. I said 50 years this light's been on. You understand me? 50 years. And so he got what he wanted. He wanted me to pay for it. So, yeah. He's smiling as he walks away, too. Like smirking, grinning. So then these people leave. Finally, they leave. I mean, they're sitting in the truck. There is no debris over them for them to pick up in Randy's yard, but somehow they're in front of Randy's yard, ironically. Randy probably sent them here. They're trying to hear what's being said, and it's none of their business either. But this is the 3-ring circus that I put up with in Calhoun County. The crazy, mentally ill brain damaged men in Calhoun County. So this eavesdropper leaves because he can't hear, because the truck is going, his truck's going and this truck's going. So there goes some of the circus clowns. They leave. So in the meantime, Randy's grandsons pull across there in the middle of all this. Then they back up into this area and they sit there and try to hear what's being said. They probably have the back window down. More circus clowns in Calhoun County. So that's how it goes in Calhoun County. They keep sitting there and sitting there and sitting there, and I notice them, and I should have told them, yeah, I do have a problem with it. You need to mind your own business. You're just like your grandfather, just nosy, got to have your nose up my butt. Your grandfather probably sent you over here because he's watching what's going on, because he's the one eavesdropping inside my house. And I was like, do you want something? Oh, we're just sitting here. I'm dropping him off. Yeah, like, whatever. Just nosy. Davis, psychopathic, schizophrenic, sociopathic, nosy. So they keep sitting there, and they keep sitting there, and they keep sitting there, and they keep sitting there because they're nosy. They were in this driveway over here, but they couldn't hear, so they pulled over here, obviously. So the truck leaves, then they leave. This is how it is in Calhoun County. Crazy Davises and all his clown posse, which I believe Chucky is one of his friends. He got to move in to help harass me because I saw him talking out in the street. So yeah, psychotic, sociopathic, narcissistic Randi Davis. I believe he's behind every bit of it. Who found out that I was building a little rock retaining wall, my little bitty rock retaining wall. So what does he do? He builds one that costs several thousand. Probably he had to borrow like $10,000 to build this wall. Yeah, that's what he does. We got to outdo Kathy. We got to do bigger, better. Mine's better. I'm wonderful. I'm everything. Look at me. When I come outside, make sure you pay attention to me. Watch me. Watch what I do. I'm so important. I have to be seen by you, Kathy. Everything I do, I've got to have my nose up your butt, and I've got to know everything you do, and I've got to outdo it. I got to do it better, bigger, better. I mean, I planted a cedar tree in the backyard. He plants a cedar tree right here in his backyard where I can see it. I have lantana in my yard. He puts lantana in his yard. We have thrift in our yard. He puts thrift in his yard. And ours comes up dead. I put a little Dollar Tree wind chime on my front porch. He buys a big gong to put on his front porch. I'm going to make some little cement steps. He goes out and buys the same frame, and puts cement steps around, little stepping stones around to his deck. I do a search online for a little cover to go over my privacy fence so it can have some shade. He immediately puts up a little cover over his deck to provide some shade. The man is stalking me. He's cyber stalking me. He's broke into my Wi-Fi. He's broke into my Google searches, and his grandsons are helping him. These two psychos that came and parked so that they could hear are helping him. And you know what? Y'all are going to burn in hell, each and every one of you, for terrorizing and tormenting an old woman alone. God sees what you're doing. God knows, just like he knew what Gilman was doing. And you ought to look at that tree on top of that house and the fact that that man is dead and realize the end of wicked people. You ought to repent. But you're not afraid, just like they weren't afraid in Sodom and Gomorrah, but judgment fell. And justice is going to come to you, Randy. It's just that God is patient, and he takes his time, and he gives people space to repent. But justice is going to come to your home. It's going to come to your grandsons for helping you to do evil.